Yo, yo, post-game live, back at it again. CP from the Knicks Fan TV, my man Jay Ellis from the Nick of Time Show. Back at it. This is a Saturday edition, Knicks 2018-2019 season preview episode. We're going to take you through the camp battles, position by position, talk about the key questions of training camp with our guys from the Knicks Film School. We're also going to be giving away the 2 tickets to the Knicks home opener versus the Hawks. So you're not going to want to miss that. And, of course, we're going to take your live phone calls as well. So let's jump right into it. Jay Ellis, how you feeling, man? How was your summer, man?
My summer's all right, man. I unplugged a little bit from doing the podcast, ready to recharge, get back in some Knick talk. So, for the most part, it was chill. I mean,
you got some new equipment too, bro. We got you in HD.
Yeah, man. You see the
we got you in HD, man.
See the angles is popping right now.
Bro, you kind of look like Lee Nylon a little bit, man. Right now, man. If you were Nick, you be Lee Nylon, man.
Lee Nylon looks like me, right?
Nah, man. But yo, good stuff. Definitely gonna have a great season. So let's definitely get it in. So let's bring in our guests, our guys, the Knicks Film School. Jonathan Macri, JB, what's good, my dudes? Welcome back.
Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, Casey? Thanks for having us on. Appreciate it.
Yo, glad to have you guys, man. Let's get right into it. How does a 29-win team dominate the offseason news like only the Knicks can, right? I mean, we go from the coach, the Fizdale hire. We go to the draft, Knox, Robinson. They shine in summer league. Free agency, we lost a couple guys. We lost KO, we lost Beasley. We got a couple of reclamation projects in Hazonia and Noah Vonleh. Troy Williams also goes as well. So we lost a couple guys. We gained a few guys. And it skipped from the summer of 2018 straight to the summer of 19. The Kyrie rumors, the KD rumors. I mean, we were in the news every day for something, man. The fan backlash. We had the kid that was selling his Knicks stuff. It was all over the place, man. But nevertheless,
thanks again for that, JB. We appreciate that story.
Yeah, JB for breaking the story.
They want you anyway. Whatever.
Facts. So nevertheless, we here. We got a 20-man roster going into training camp. Training camp is right around the corner. We got the preseason starting up on October 1st, and then the season starting up on the 17th. So a couple of news items that broke yesterday. Not really new news, but, the Noah situation has reared its head again. And it looks like the Knicks are going to be parting ways with Joakim Noah before training camp starts, whether by trade or whether by stretch. What do you guys think about this, man? What do you got? What's your take? Macri, give me your take on the whole Noah situation and how we got here to begin with.
Man, talking about Joakim Noah is like talking about your drunk uncle who's been to rehab 3 or 4 times. It's like you get the gist already. It's not getting any better. He can keep going back if he wants. It's just at this point, it's waiting for how he's going to get off the roster. I don't think anybody out there is under the assumption that anything could happen that would leave him still on the Knicks team in what is media day? 8 days from today? 9 days? Yeah, I don't think there's any scenario where that's possible. I mean, if at the last second before they're ready to do a wave and stretch, somebody comes in and there's a palatable trade on the table, we were talking about a little bit before we went on air. Who knows? But I have to think any team is going to just demand a price a little bit too high, more than they want to pay, and that's even considering they'll probably want to send back a bad contract of their own. So I think he's gone. To me, I think the delay has probably been about negotiating over what the final number is going to be, over what he gives back. Yeah. Which leads me to believe that he's out there trying to negotiate a deal for himself, or his agents are trying to do that with another team. So there's probably a couple balls in the air, which is why it's taken a while. But, whether it's Monday, Tuesday, or at the latest on Friday, this is going to get done.
Inevitable. So speaking of the giving of the money back, JB of the Knicks Film School had created a graphic running through a couple scenarios of how the salary cap would look based on if Noah gives money back or if he doesn't. JB, you want to kind of break down that graphic for us?
Yeah, I mean, I'll tell you though, it's a lot more fun doing my videos than doing these cap graphics. I'll be happy when we're past some of this stuff. But and it's funny because as fans we have to care about the mechanics of all this because obviously it impacts which players that we can add to the roster when you think about going forward. But I think the key point in this graphic is to say, I think people are worried that if the Knicks were to waive and stretch Noah, that cap hit that carries those 3 years will prevent the team from signing, players going forward. So what I did in the graphic was to show that while, the cap hit does get stretched, it also does open up 2019 space, which is obviously, important timing wise to get that space, but it also saves them a little over $1 million in terms of that stretch hit. Because we saw with Luol Deng, he gave back, I think it was $7.5 million. So if you do the same thing with Noah, you can see in that graphic, how the money works. And the way it goes is since he has 2 years left on his deal, they split the amount he gives back in proportion to the amount that he's owed over the 2 years. So that's why you get into all this percentage, percentiles of the 49% comes off this year, and then the 51% would come off over the stretched years. But the point is, if he just gives back an amount that he can maybe close to make up, not all of it, but at least a portion of it by signing even a vet min deal. He's been in the league 10 years. So a vet min deal is 2.5 or about 2.4 million. So let's say he thinks he can do that over the next 2 seasons. And he thinks that he can go and kind of rejuvenate a late portion of himself somewhere else. He might be willing to give up that money to do that. And then, like I said, for the Knicks, it gives them a little more wiggle room.
True indeed. Jay Ellis, my question to you, man, is, I guess, how do we get to this point where it's kind of like the point of no return, right? Like we can't even get a couple minutes out of him this season. I mean, this is, a mutual split between both sides, wanting out beyond the repair. I mean, how do you think that we got here? Who's to blame here for this impasse?
I mean, of course, Phil Jackson was a little overzealous in signing Joakim Noah. You heard the story about how, he knew he was healthy because he put his arm out and he did chin-ups on Phil Jackson's arm, and now his shoulder is magically repaired and all the injuries have gone away for the rest of his career. It was bull. I mean, it's all Phil Jackson. It's cool to have Noah here, but he shouldn't have given him a long-term contract. And now we're paying for it right now. But to be honest with you, even if we're looking at the entire scope of the team and that center position, I almost feel like it's right now it might be a mistake to kind of go this route and try to stretch him because we need a post defender. Mitchell Robinson isn't a post defender. And we have a guy who can possibly give us that. Maybe we can give him some minutes, raise his value, and then end up trading him later during the trade deadline. That's what I was hoping.
That's what I was thinking that the direction would be. But like I said, I mean, it seems as though, and maybe it's coming from his camp, it just seems as though, this is it.
Well, the other thing, though, is, like, what are you guys willing to get? Like, what do you think is the least valuable? This is the way I've looked at it. Take the least valuable asset on the roster, including future picks. Whatever you think that is it really worth giving that up? Like, I don't think you could trade like a 2nd round pick, right? So are you trading you're not trading Mitchell Robinson. Like, you're not like that's the problem I have. It's like, I don't think there's any player, even if it's a protected pick in the future, like if the Knicks are good in 2020, I'd rather have like the 23rd pick to add to the roster, especially if they're capped out, than that $5 million of Noah's cap. You know what I mean?
And even putting that aside, if this were, basketball isn't black and white. This is not a black and white situation. David Fizdale's coming in, and he is tasked with, I think, arguably the toughest thing to do in sports. Be someone that is going to come into a new room full of new players that you've never coached before, that you've never worked with and try to command the respect of that entire room full of guys from day one. And everything that you want to do as David Fizdale from this day forward will hinge, at least in part, on the tone that you set from day one. So if you can try to make your life as easy as possible from that, from Jump Street, you want to try to do that. And if you are convinced as an organization and as a coach that Noah's going to come in and make your job that much more difficult, I get people arguing the logic of waiting, the dollars and cents, and how they don't need the money yet. And I get all that. It's completely valid. And if those are the only considerations, fine. They're not the only considerations. This is real life. These are real people. They're trying to build something. We're going to touch on it later. Kyrie Irving, if he wants to come here, he's going to want to come to a certain type of situation. Well, guess what? That situation, it doesn't just magically appear next summer. It's something that has to start in September. And if you have a guy who's disgruntled, doesn't want to be there, and is going to make it a point to, be that guy, for lack of a better term, it's not fair to Fizdale. It's not fair to what they're trying to build. It's not fair to themselves to try to attract free agents down the line. It just, I get why they're doing it. It's complicated.
Yeah. I mean, I get it. I just hope that this is just the last of the quote unquote typical Knick move. I hope they really get past this one. I feel like it was Mills that gave him that deal based on Ron Baker and Timmy's deals. It was just bad from the jump. I think the possibilities of it working out were remote, but obviously as fans we were optimistic that he could contribute at least a little something.
It was the worst free agent signing in Knicks history as far as I'm concerned.
I mean, Alan Hahn points it to worse than Jerome James, man.
Worse than Jerome James.
Well, yeah. I mean, the thing though that there is the context of that 2016 summer was a unique summer, right? Like literally it was a cap party. Everyone was getting drunk at the same time. There were a lot of bad deals. So I get it because of the narrative with the Knicks and certain contracts, and not to say this one wasn't a bad contract, but I think there is that context to it was a summer that there was a lot of bad deals out there by teams that are supposedly competent teams.
The Rockets gave Ryan Anderson more money than
there you go. Yeah,
Biyombo too. Everybody was getting money that year.
Oh, Bismack. Love me some
Bismack. Biyombo, man.
Everybody was getting money.
Everybody was getting it.
Everybody's paying for it right now, but it just seemed that much worse because of Noah's injury history. And it just seemed maybe Phil Jackson felt that pressure to build a championship team at the time because Melo was here. But man, that you could have at least 2 years.
It was a deal that was screaming for some kind of injury protection to trigger a third or a fourth guaranteed year, and the fact that it was 4 years fully guaranteed showed the fact that the guy who gave the deal was basically still learning on the job. I guess it was 14, 15 months after he had gotten it.
Yeah,
and I don't think he had quite fully gotten it yet by that point.
It's funny because his whole spiel coming into New York was not to get bad contracts. He was getting rid of all the bad contracts. It was going to be all good contracts, short term. We need to conserve cap space, and then he folded. He folded hard that year. But I'm tired of talking about Phil Jackson. My God, I'm getting angry again.
Oh man, well, I mean, time will tell how this Noah situation plays out, man. But like I said, I just hope we just get it over with. I didn't want to give up the cap space, but it is what it is. But segueing into that, Jay Ellis had alluded to, when we go into this training camp roster and we look at the big men that we're coming in with at the center position, we have a bit of a drought here because, we have Enes Kanter starting. Obviously, he's locked in as a starter. The good thing is, obviously, it seems like a guy like Mitchell Robinson is going to get a lot of burn early.
Nice.
And then, you could say Cornette maybe at the 5. He's more of a stretch 4. But, what do you guys think about that? I know a lot of people were, even though Mitchell Robinson had a fairly decent summer league. Some people thought that he may get some more time in the G League, or maybe he wasn't completely ready for the big show. JB, what do you think about that, throwing Mitchell Robinson into the fire?
Yeah, I mean, I think we all realize that, you know, he didn't play college last season. He's still young. He's still going to need some time to develop and some patience. I think the debate of, you know, play him in G League or not, I think people are taking it like it's either he plays in G League or he plays in NBA. It's like kind of one or the other. Or like even I've seen, you know, conversations people have of like, oh, if you're saying he needs time in the G League, you don't believe he's going to be a star. I don't think it has to be that way. I think it's kind of a nuanced answer where you will see, like we saw last year, perhaps, of he's playing on the team, he's with the team most of the year, but there might be some gaps in the schedule where you can get some G League work in, have him play a game here or there. It just kind of depends how he's going to react to that everyday grind, 82 games. Like that's a huge jump that he's got to make. And I think they gotta be honest, you know, with themselves and evaluating that through the year and let that tell them more than, you know, deciding right now, you know, this is how we're going to treat him. You just got to see, I think, how he's going to react.
So let me ask you real quick on that G League topic. Even though we have Trier and Hicks on the two-way deals, how does that work in terms of the flexibility in terms of, you know, being able to send guys like a Robinson down and back up? You know?
Yeah, I mean, they can do that as long as they have the roster room, you know, on Westchester, which they can easily be, you know, make room for something like that. The two-way is more to prevent those players from playing more than 45 days on the big, I call it big league club because I'm used to it the minor leagues, but you know, that same idea on the NBA team. But in terms of going the other way, I should probably double check that, but I don't think there's restrictions as long as
I don't think there is.
It's those G League rules, right? Like you got to be 1 to 3 years in the league.
Yeah.
And the player might have to agree if it's longer than that, but I think that's all it is.
Yeah.
Okay. JL, give me your take on the center position and you know, Mitchell Robinson in particular.
I'm a Mitchell Robinson fan, man. I love what he did in the summer league. He does have a lot to show and a lot to grow, but instinctively, I love his motor. You know, motor is something I feel like isn't really teachable in the NBA. You kind of either have it or you don't. And that he has in spades. And I also love his athleticism. And I also love that he, even with his limited experience, he still found a way to make an impact in the summer league. Now, granted, there's still some things he has to kind of adjust to. I was reading something from, I don't know what I was reading. I think it was from the Atlantic or something. It was pointing out a lot of his shortcomings. Some of it was his footwork. Some of it was like he's not too low to the ground and he gets beat off the dribble. But his athleticism allowed him to kind of recover a lot. So I love the potential, man. Once he gets set in the NBA, once he gets that coaching from the Knicks staff, I think he's going to be fine long term. He just has to put in the work, to be honest with you. And I feel like we don't have that many options at the center position anyway, so I don't really see him not being on the squad.
Yeah, we really don't. I mean, unless you know, they find a big in a Courtney Lee swap or pick up a big off of waivers, and you know, once they get Courtney Lee out of here, if they do, but we'll see. Macri, what's your take on Mitchell Robinson and getting him in this early?
You know, I think it's an interesting dichotomy for them this year because on one hand you got a guy in Cantor who, you know, I think it's pretty clear at this point that he is not in their long-term plans. Obviously they want to do right by him. They want to showcase him. You know, they're not going to bend over backwards to give him extended minutes, but they're also not going to, you know, even if Mitchell Robinson came out and was a stud, it's not like they're going to glue Cantor to the bench. They wouldn't do that to him. I don't think it doesn't look good. So Cantor's going to play. And you know what? He should. And I've been as big a Cantor critic as probably anyone. I'm not a fan of I think he's one of the worst defenders in the league. Oh, yeah. I think even though, you know, his like effective field goal percentage is really high, I think he's a guy that, I mean, yes, he gets some garbage points on offensive rebound putbacks, but for the most part, when you get points from him, you're kind of shutting down your offense. and dumping it in and letting him go to work.
Yeah.
All that being said, you know, I want to see what Robinson could do as much as anyone. But if you inject a guy that can't do the basics into your lineups, that makes life more difficult for everybody around him. And, you know, it's one thing to obviously, you know, learn some things on the fly. But if your guards can't rely on you, for instance, to set a proper screen, if you know you're a turnstile in the post because you haven't learned the basics of post positioning, or you don't have the requisite leg strength down there, you're then putting all of your other players who share the floor with him in a position where they're trying to get better, but they're trying to get better in an environment that almost isn't fair because a key cog isn't doing, you know, its part. So
are you talking about Robinson or are you talking about Cantor in this?
I'm talking about Robinson now.
Okay, I just checking because I know he has those. Okay, sorry.
Yeah, you know, and that's the thing about Cantor. It's like God knows there's a lot of faults with Enes Kanter, but the basics of basketball, he knows how to do them, and he may not always do them well, but his teammates know he's going to be in the right position at the time he's supposed to be there. With Robinson, I don't, you know, he may get there by the time the season starts, but if the rest of his teammates while he's on the floor aren't going to be able to get better themselves because of the things he's unable to do, then you're not just hurting his development, you're hurting everybody's development. So I'm of the opinion that he may spend a little bit more time in the G League than some people would like. That said, you know, I'd be shocked if by January he wasn't on the roster full time. And I think we're going to see him like on the opening night roster. But would it surprise me if there were a couple of Knicks games where he was not with the team because they wanted to give him a slightly longer stretch in Westchester? No, that wouldn't surprise me.
Well, you know, like you said, we got Cantor, we have Cornette. Potentially, you know, maybe you go small with a Vonleh. I mean, you know, I don't know how much playing time you want to give him, but with the lack of depth on the front lines, I mean, he's going to probably get some good minutes.
And just on Vonleh real quick, I think if Vonleh's going to make it in the league, he's going to make it as a backup five. So I think that's another reason why they may skew towards taking it slow with Robinson, just to see, you know, if they may have found something in Vonleh. Who knows?
That's another thing with Robinson too. Is he a 5 now or a 4? Because both of him and KP are kind of, you know, built like slim, even though they're both shot blockers.
That's a great long-term question.
Like they're not. I don't know if he's even a 5 this season. You know, he's just not. He's not thick enough to me in my eyes. And he can shoot the jumper. It seems like a little bit. I'm not sure how game ready it is. I've seen some film, but is he really a 5?
Yeah, or it depends how we're defining the 5 now, right? And I think that's, you know, it's going to depend on what lineups that you're going against. And, you know, I think the fact that he proves he can be a shot blocker, you're going to want him defensively in a position that he can provide that help, right, inside. So if you're going against another team that has a 4 that's pulling him out of the paint, then at that point, I want him playing what is, you know, quote, a 5. But, you know, like you said, there's other considerations with it too. So to me, I think that's what's so hard about it now. It's like you have all these lineups out there and different looks. And, you know, I think it was actually just today, I saw a quote I retweeted out. It was Rod Strickland talking about with Mark Jackson. Because, you know, when, you know, back that was late 80s when they were both coming up as rookies around the same time, rookie second-year player. And obviously Strickland ended up having to go because you know, you can't have 2 point guards like that on the same team. And Strickland said recently, yeah, that was just how it was back then. But nowadays, like, you just don't look at it the same way. You could, you know, we could have played together. So, you know, I guess that's kind of how I think about it with Mitchell Robinson too, in terms of position at this point.
I mean, listen, if you have 5 7-footers who can shoot and who can switch, you could put them on the floor at the same time in the game today. If they can't, you know, I would encourage Knicks fans to pay a little bit of attention to Indiana this season because they're at the point where
they're going to be tough.
They're going to be good, and they have 2 7-footers who are arguably 2 of their 2 best players after Oladipo and Miles Turner and Domantas Sabonis.
Yeah.
And I think they're going to really try to figure out what they could do with the 2 of them, if they could integrate them into the lineup at the same time. And Sabonis, to me, is a slightly less athletic version of Porzingis. He's obviously not as good. And Turner kind of reminds me a little bit, or Mitchell Robinson, I should say, reminds me a little bit of Turner. So I would be curious to see how they, Nate McMillan's not the most creative guy, the coach of the Pacers, but I'm curious to see how they do trying to work them into the lineup at the same time, because I think that might be the Knicks' future, trying to see, can they get Robinson and Porzingis on the floor? It doesn't have to be 30 minutes a night. We're talking, 10, 12 minutes a game. Can it work? So that I'm looking forward to that.
I'm definitely looking forward to that.
Whenever he comes back.
Well, in Sabonis and Miles Turner, I mean, you're talking about 2 guys who can stretch the floor a little bit and are a bit more versatile big men, and I think that's what Fizdale wants to get a guy like Enes Kanter to be more like. So he's got him hoisting up more threes this offseason. What do you guys think of Kanter kind of stepping outside and stretching the floor a little bit this year? JB, what do you think?
Yeah, no, I mean, obviously it helps when, even giving defenses different looks, right? So if you're going to run, pick and rolls at the top of the key, and now you at least have that option, right? That Kanter might pop out versus always, slowly rolling down. I think that's helps. To me, it's always about, it's no different than football, where you just want to give different looks, so you're not always showing the same thing. So even if Kanter's not going to be this like lethal 3-point shooter, the fact that they can mix things up now and force a player, if you're running, Trey Burke is running like 7 or he loves those little get that mid-range jump shot, and he's running 7 or 8 of the same looks. Eventually the defender can react to that. Versus he's got he's getting a different type of screen the way Kanter's popping off back to the perimeter. So that's what I like about it. And then obviously it can't hurt that, he's another player that can shoot. Or I'll say that can try to shoot. I mean, we've only seen in the workout videos where everything counts. But
right.
Hey, I mean, if he could get that shot to a point where even if he makes a couple buckets a game, and could turn himself into any semblance of a trade piece come February, and they get
that'd be big. That'd be big for us, man.
They get literally anything for him. I would be dancing in the streets. That would be awesome.
That would be excellent. JL, let's get a final point on the 5s.
Yeah, I'm laughing because he's determined to trade my guy Panther. I like you, Kanter. It's all good.
Hey, I like him. Listen, he's gonna recruit. He's gonna,
Yeah. He's gonna recruit. Yeah, I have like a love-hate relationship with Kanter.
He's gonna be out there trolling, recruiting, and all that.
Yeah, he goes really hard. But yeah, I like the fact that Fizdale is encouraging our players to shoot the 3. He did the same thing in Memphis. Gasol kind of fought it, but we're gonna embrace it. I think we're gonna be better for it.
Yeah.
And like you said, the better we look, even if we keep him or trade him or whatever, the better we look, the more options we get. So I'm all for it. I'm all for being unpredictable. I'm all for moving to the future.
Yep.
True indeed, man. So for those of you watching at home, leave us a comment below or in the chat. Let us know what you think about the Knicks center situation, the Noah situation. Would you like to see them stretch Noah or, some other option? Leave a comment below and let us know what you guys think. Let's go into the chat. Salute to everybody in the chat on this Saturday. I see a couple of the regulars are in here. Alex Collins, Cody Emanuel's in here. Passionate about passion. What's going on?
Yeah. Let me check.
Who else we got in here? Slick Nick, what's going on? The Zinger's in here. The Zinger says he's gonna win those tickets. Robert Paris, what's good, Robert Paris? I know that the stream connection's a little shaky. We got 4 guys in there streaming, so it's a little choppy. So appreciate everybody in here. Appreciate the patience. Go ahead, give us a thumbs up if you like this video. It definitely helps our video get promoted on YouTube.
Facts. Let me shout out my chat, man.
Oh, go ahead, bro. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, Vivek Dathania.
Viv, what up,
man?
Viv?
Daniel Watkins was going on. He was here early.
Yeah,
Line of chat.
Carlito's back. Carlito's back. Okay.
Yeah, Babyface Lacosta, what's going on? Soul Squad. Sound like he a sneakerhead. Was good, man. RJ Val was good. Drip Bayless, my guy.
Drip Bayless is back
Drip.
in here. Drip's a regular too, man.
Yeah, the faithful, man. What's going on?
Faithful. All right,
And
so
shout
let's
out to-
yo, go ahead, Macri. Go ahead.
Daniel John, New York Knicks, Germany, Austria.
Germany.
I know they're following us.
Salute, man. Thanks for the support, man. Those guys are diehards out there, man.
Yep.
Definitely. All right, so switching gears to the fours, obviously, and here I'm presenting the graphic. Obviously, we got the big man, the unicorn, still on the mend. Back home. I guess he's back home in Latvia still, but KP's out on the mend. We got the two reclamation projects in Mario Hezonja, Noah Vonleh, and we got Isaiah Hicks too, but. Yeah, we got Isaiah.
Don't forget him. Whatever you do, don't forget him.
And we got Isaiah Hicks.
Did you guys see the dunk though I posted a little while ago? He's doing warm-ups for
I
US
missed that.
basketball.
Well, he dunked on somebody?
No, it was just during warm-ups, and it wasn't like crazy, but like
Yeah.
he definitely threw down. Like it wasn't like a little light thing. Like
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't
Doing
know,
some strength
man.
training in the off season again.
yeah.
All right.
Hey,
Working
Hicks-
his twitch
yeah.
muscles. Okay, I see you.
So let's talk about obviously KP's on the men. We'll wait for him to come back. They picked up Hezonja and Vonleh as the two reclamation projects for this year. Cheap 1-year deals. We'll see. Still young guys, former lottery picks who fell out of favor with their respective teams. Noah Vonleh is, I believe, this is his third team. He was on the Hornets and the Blazers. Fourth team. He was on the Bulls last year as well. Let's start with Hezonja. Where do you guys think he fits in this lineup? Jay Ellis, I'll go with you. Do you see him more at the 4, at the 3? What do you think about Hezonja?
That's an unknown for me, man, because you know what? When he was on Orlando, he seemed to kind of flourish offensively at the 4, but defensively, that 4 was also a little
barbecue
bit of a,
chicken.
yeah, man. It was a little bit of train wreck. It was a little of that old lady defense.
Yeah.
And with Fizz on here, I don't know if he's gonna really roll for that. But we do have an advantage with Mario at the 4 and offensive end because he is a stretch 4. He can't hit the 3. He can pass, and he can do other things for us. So it remains to be seen whether he really stays with the 4 or the 3. But he has some competition offensively. He might be our best option at the 4.
Might be.
But then
yeah,
you got to look at Vonleh and possibly Lance Thomas. Who knows?
True. Yeah, and since we talk about Lance, we could segue to Macri. Macri, I'm thinking. I thought that Lance might, and still obviously early, training camp hasn't even started yet, but I think that Lance is my more logical option at the 4 for the time being. Just because I feel like, he can protect Knox. He'll be able to rebound. He'll be kind of the coach's eyes out there for the front court. The hustle plays that Lance is known for. A couple single-digit stats across the stat board. But what's your take on Hezonja in this mix?
I actually think Lance, there's not a good chance that he'll start at the 4, but I think it's not inconceivable. My pick right now to start, I think one of two things is going to happen.
Vonleh?
I don't think it's going to be Vonleh. I think Vonleh is a nice energy guy. I think if he could develop a role into the first big off the bench, that'd be great for him. And I think that might be out there for him. But I see one of two things. Well, let me put it this way. I think Knox is going to start. I think Knox starting is as guaranteed as anybody except maybe Cantor. I don't think there's any possibility that Knox does not start going into the year. Just kind of reading the tea leaves, listening to the way Fizdale has talked. So then you figure, all right, well, is he going to start at the 3 or the 4? And I don't think they want to start him at the 4, which is why I could see them starting him at the 3 and then starting Lance Thomas. But before anybody gets crazy and wants to kill me, which they already do because I've said Lance Thomas's name without a profanity after.
I said the same thing. Don't.
I think they'll probably do one of these deals where it's like kind of a starter emeritus almost, where a guy is in the starting lineup technically, but then after 4 or 5 minutes, he'll get pulled. And I think maybe they move Knox to the 4 and then bring in Mario Hezonja to play the 3. Either that, or they just start Mario and Knox together. Because people forget Mario Hezonja is not a small guy. He's 6'8".
Yeah.
And I think ultimately the big thing is, and the reason why I would be hesitant about starting Lance is, as much as I love Lance Thomas, his shot, he's not stretching.
Terrible, man. Terrible.
His rebounding. That's my thing with the rebounding.
Well, that's not good either. A lot of things you could gripe with about Lance, but nobody respects his shot, and nobody is going to respect his shot for a while. He would have to really come out of the season, starting the season on fire for that to change. So if you want to try to give your offense a chance to succeed, you got to put enough shooting out there. And I think Hezonja might be their best shooter. So that's why I think Hezonja Knox as a starting 3-4 combination makes some sense. That's the one I would like to see. Something tells me they're not going to want to start Knox as a nominal 4. That would be my guess.
Yeah, I mean, Mario at the 4, I think they said last year he gave up 75% of opponent shots in the post. So Shaq would have a field day. JB, jump in here, man. What do you think about, the 4s, Hezonja, Vonleh, and the like?
Yeah, so I think, again, like always, it also depends who these guys are playing with, right? So if you have Tim Hardaway Jr. and you have Knox and you have Burke, let's say those 3 are on the floor, well, then, you can get away a little more with Lance, hoping he's helping you on defense, putting them in the right positions on defense, right? So I think that, to me, dictates it a lot. What I like about Hezonja is that he can, push the ball. I think Fizdale talked back in Summer League that he wants the team off rebounds. Whoever gets the rebound, they're now the ball handler. Everyone else, goes down quickly, keep the ball moving. Hezonja is perfect for that. So if he's in a position where he's playing the 4, that allows him to also rebound, so he can then be the guy who's pushing it down court, I think that he can thrive in that setting. So I agree everything, I guess, what you guys were saying, but just to add, I think a little bit depends on who. There could be instances where if you have Hardaway on the bench and you're playing Frank instead of Burke, and all of a sudden, you don't have KP, all of a sudden that offense,
We have an offense-defense problem
in
general
points,
right
man.
now.
You need some points.
Right, you need some points. And then in that case, you're probably substituting, what you get from Lance on defense for offense. But if he's playing, like I said, with Hardaway and Burke and Knox, well, then you're not as worried about losing that offense. So.
And just quick on that note, it goes the other way too. Like you were saying, if you have Trey Burke out there, along with Timmy and Knox, you could get away with Lance more. If you have Frank in there, and obviously he brings more on the defensive end at this point, and you maybe don't trust him to run the team as the primary ball handler full time. Well, that makes sense to put Mario there alongside him, because Mario, not that he's a point guard, but he can handle the ball. If I'm the Knicks, I'm comfortable with Frank and Hezonja, and even, Tim Hardaway can kind of sort of run a pick and roll. Give me those 3 guys out there. I'm comfortable with my the ball moving sufficiently in my offense to get things going.
Yeah, I'm still nervous about the idea of Mario and Knox defensively at the same time. It makes me a little bit nervous. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah. With Cantor as
with Cantor,
Matador D.
That scares the hell out of me.
Matador D Central, man. But
Fizdale has his work cut out for him.
Oh yeah. Fizdale's gonna earn his check in the first year. Absolutely, man. But yeah, let's see what happens. At the very least, if they do start Mario, you have an extra facilitator out there on the floor. So that could certainly help us. But let's see which way Fizdale goes with it. Guys in the chat watching at home, what do you guys think about the Knicks power forward situation? Mario Hezonja, Vonleh. Who do you think should start at the 4? Leave us a comment below. Let us know what you're thinking. Also on the phone calls, if people are calling in, we're going to take the phone calls after we do the ticket giveaway, just so we can kind of push through the program here. But salute to everybody in the chat. Pedersen says Lance Thomas is ass juice. Okay. Pedersen is my guy, man. There's
oh my God.
the Knicks fans do not spare words when it comes to Lance Thomas. That's for damn sure.
Ass juice is a good one. That's
juice.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Ass juice.
But yeah, I mean, the thing though with Lance is like, again, there, I think Macri, you're talking about this a little bit earlier with Noah, but the idea is when you have a team of young players,
yes,
it is important, right, to have the right guys around those players. And I get why people don't always love, Lance, because he's not going to, blow you away with offensive skills, but he does do, and obviously, in my position, watching a lot of the film after each game, I mean, he just does a lot of the habit-based things right. Simple stuff like he's running down the court and he'll always have his arms up just in case, he makes a pass a little bit harder, right? And it's like those are good habits for the young players to see a guy who's a veteran that still does them every single time. I guess we can't overlook those things too.
Yeah, Lance's intangibles, man. Look, he led the Knicks in inspirational speeches in the locker room last year, right? First of all.
Hey, he's the captain, man.
He's the captain. That's what the captain does, right?
Right.
I mean, he's also not as bad at shooting 3-pointers as we think. I mean, he shot a decent percentage, 40%. Yeah. He's just very slow. Like this windup is so slow that by the time he's ready to shoot it, you've already done recovered, and then he does his little fake move with the little slow floater thing that misses 60% of the time. But that's really what it is with Lance. Like he needs to speed that up, bro.
Well, believe me, I as the president of the Lance Thomas fan club, I've spent a lot of time on stat sites, cleaning the glass, and what have you, trying to find some stats to show that Lance Thomas was better than people say he was last year, and they don't exist. The stats, there's just no good stats.
No, he was bad last season. He was bad. Well, and I took flack from him on my podcast because I defended him for a minute because when he had his little decent stretch, and then I couldn't defend him last season. So this is not for a long period of time anyway. For a stretch like good.
Oh man, God bless Lance, man. God bless Lance.
My guy from Brooklyn, man.
Yeah, at the very least, is a native New Yorker. We give him some points, man. Give him some points. All right, so segueing into the threes, we already touched on Lance. Let's go to a guy who we really don't know whose future, what the future holds for him. And that's Courtney Lee. Well, I mean, a lot of the speculation has been and the wishes has been to part ways with Lee. Obviously, we're trying to get under the cap situation here. He was brought in and played well for us over the last 2 years. I thought he was good value for the contract that we signed him at. It's just not the right situation for Courtney Lee. I think he deserves to play for a contender. And I think the skill set that he brings is more valuable to a contending team to me than a rebuilding team. But I think the issue is, can we find a suitable trade scenario that would rid us that contract? With 2 years left on it. JB, what do you think on Courtney Lee?
Yeah, I mean, I guess to start. Courtney Lee, I think, is a good example of someone that they signed to a longer-term deal that I think most people are happy with the way it worked. It's not to say that he came here and he was this, all-star player every single year, but he came in and did exactly what you expected him to do. And even now, in terms of people talking about trades, I don't think people are talking about it because they're like, oh, we don't like Courtney Lee, we don't want him on the team. I think you framed it right, Casey. It's almost more we want to find a better spot for him. It just doesn't maybe make sense. I think that 3-and-D label gets thrown around a lot. I think that's the market you're trying to generate for him. And you're hoping that extra year past this year of, I think it's around $12 million, doesn't scare teams away, where you get a team maybe closer to the trade deadline if you do go into the season that has an injury. That's sort of why I wouldn't rush anything. People talk about, should we rush things with Noah? There is some value with Noah to leave the team before the season starts. It opens up a roster spot. It allows him to spend a full season with a new team. Where with Lee, I don't really see the value in rushing anything because you don't know what's going to happen. You could be one of these contending teams and you lose a wing, and all of a sudden you're like, hey, we need to figure out how to make this work. We'll get a third team involved, whatever, to get the Knicks an asset or to get that year off the extra year off the salary cap. So I would just wait. And like I said, I'm just happy that he just seems like a good example. We talk a lot about the bad contracts, like with Noah.
Yeah.
I think Lee's a good example of one that's kind of worked out the way we would have hoped.
He's a good one. And I was on Twitter, man. You know the guy Jesus Rodriguez? He's kind of like a Courtney Lee whisperer.
Yeah.
So I've been following him for the updates, man. I haven't received any updates. I don't know if he's a real guy or if that's Courtney Lee's burner account, man. I haven't confirmed. Is he a legitimate dude?
I think he's a real guy.
Yeah. Oh man. Well, Macri, what's your take on the Courtney Lee situation?
You know, I'm gonna probably wind up having egg on my face because I have sworn up and down since last season's trade deadline that he would be gone by start camp this year. I to anyone who would listen, I was like, there is no chance Courtney Lee is going to be on the team. They will find another home for him because, like JB was saying, is Courtney Lee's contract a good contract? No, it's not a good contract, but it's exactly. It's there. There isn't a team. Well, okay, maybe Golden State, maybe Houston, maybe Boston, maybe Toronto. There aren't many teams in the league that, even in the playoffs, Courtney Lee couldn't provide 20 to 25 valuable minutes a night in which, you know what, he's going to be the fifth best guy on the floor for you, but he's not going to be a guy that is going to kill you on either end. Just in the NBA, the way it's played today, the value of having a guy who can, again, he's not a great defender, but who can credibly defend any wing that you throw him on, and obviously can make an open three-pointer, you know, that has real value. And there aren't that many of those guys out there, and there are even fewer of those guys out there who are available. So I've been thinking all along that there was going to be a team who would say, you know what, screw the $12 million in 2019-20. Let's get the guy because he's going to help us win games this year. And I'm of the belief that Perry might be holding out for the best deal. And if that's the case, and I don't know if it is, maybe I'm completely wrong and maybe nobody wants him and they're just scared off of the $12 million a year from now. But I'm okay with that if he's holding out for a better deal, because this organization, if it's the one common thread they've had for years and years and years, it's giving away assets when they're at their lowest value as opposed to when you could get the most for them. And if that means I'm going to be wrong and they have to carry Courtney Lee into the season like JB is suggesting they do, then I'll be wrong. I just didn't think that was going to need to be the case for a team to break down and give Perry the type of deal that he wants for Lee. But, you know, we've come this far, so maybe it is.
Yeah, let's see. And, you know, stranger things have happened. We'll see how training camp and the preseason plays out, you know, depending on what happens. Guys get cut. Guys, unfortunately, get injured. That might raise his trade value a little bit. So I guess, you know, it would behoove Perry and those guys is to stay patient. Obviously, he's a captain of this team. You know, if they don't find a buyer, you know, there's other ways he can help us. So, Jay Ellis, what's your take on it before we get into Knox?
I mean, my take is this, man. He has value on his team, and he has value in the NBA in general. So I'm kind of with Macri, where I felt like I thought there was no way he's going to come into the season with the Knicks just because he has value. He's not a scrub, and also to the Noah point before, where we have to get rid of people, cut the roster down before a certain point. I thought since the guy has value. And we have a glut at that wing position. We have other people over here like Dotson who needs the minutes. Yeah, I thought it would just be a done deal. So maybe it is that we're just waiting for the deal. Hopefully that's what it is. But yeah, I love what Lee did last season, and I'm hoping he goes somewhere nice where he can show his stuff off. Man, I appreciate what he did for us.
For 40 games, I thought he was. I mean, KP obviously had that 3-week stretch. But I'd say through the first half of the season, I think Lee was their most consistent player.
Definitely. Definitely.
And
That's
then
when
I
Tim
think,
Hardaway went down. Yeah.
and then I think around January, Lee stopped giving a shit.
Yeah, I think that's what it was. Yeah, he quit. He quit.
I hate to say the word quit, but I do not think he was maybe giving it his all.
Right, and rightfully so. He's got to maintain his longevity and his future
that's
as
fair.
well. So that's Courtney Lee, and then we got number 20. He took H2O's number. Kevin Knox, the rookie sensation.
Yeah.
The one that's gonna put the butts in the seats until KP comes back.
Yep.
I'm excited about this kid, man. Me and Jay Ellis was at the draft. We heard all, the controversy. We didn't know if it was gonna be Mikal Bridges, and we had the Michael Porter drama and all of that. But Knox, he's impressed me from the summer league performance to even the off the field, just microphone skills.
Crow.
He's a pro's pro at 18 years old. You just see the poise in him. His father was interviewed by the Tampa papers, talking about, they built him up for the big stage at a very young age. And for him to cut through Kentucky at the big stage, there's no doubt that he's going to show up at the Garden, man. He's going to play really well. Jay Ellis, give me your take on Knox.
And first of all, I would just like to apologize to Kevin Knox for doubting him. That's all I have to say.
I don't know. It wasn't a doubt per se.
It was a doubt.
I just think at the time, I think it was mixed. I think the Knox hype came up a bit later on during the draft week, but I think a lot of people were on the Mikal bandwagon.
I was one of them.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah.
Me too.
Yeah, I was on the miles, but anyway. Yeah, I liked I was on a whole other wagon. Anyway.
You're on a bridge. It's a different bridge.
Thanks.
I like that. But yeah, I liked what he's shown so far, at least in the summer league, and hopefully it continues into the NBA where I can continue giving some praises. I didn't think he was going to be that aggressive. And he was. I didn't know he was going to be that locked in, and he was. He showed me something different. He showed me something different that wasn't on the scouting report from his days in college. So I like having Knox here. I like the fact that we have the staff like Fizdale and others who we signed who can actually bring up these young guys and take it to the next level. And I'm excited to see what he can do the full year with the New York City lights on him, man. I'm excited to see it.
Facts, man. JB, what's your take?
Yeah, I mean, obviously from Summer League, we got a glimpse of how they might want to use him differently than in college. And that's what's always so tough. Like, I'm always looking to others to get insight on these guys because I just don't have time to watch college.
Yeah. I just truly start watching that March Madness, man. Between football.
Yeah, and that's it, right?
Between NFL and NBA, I just don't have time.
No, right. And it gets tricky though, because while you can look for skills that translate, they might be playing a different position. They might be asked to do different things. So then they get to the pros and you're like, well, how did we not see this? Right. Well, it's like maybe they weren't put in that position. I think that's what we saw a glimpse of with Knox in Summer League. So, and I think that will continue because again, especially without KP, it's like, well, offense has to come from somewhere. So I think they're not going to be shy about giving him the ball in a similar way.
Even pushing the ball up the court, man. I was impressed. Granted it's against Summer League competition. But, that first game, he was up against, Trae Young's going to be in the league. Dorsey's going to be up in the league. And Knox was fearless out there, man. Macri, what's your take on Kevin Knox and his first year potential?
Sometimes, and I said this after one of the Summer League games, sometimes a team can hit on a draft pick in, like, the late lottery, and it could almost change the direction of your franchise single-handedly. Mm-hmm. And I'm not to say that, Knox is going to be like an all-NBA caliber player, but based on maybe what they were expecting from that spot, he's at least opened the door to the possibility that his being here can really change things for this franchise. Not as much as KP did, because KP, I think is an MVP caliber player, but almost as much. The one thing I would just caution anybody watching the team this year, he's not going to be good right away.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
He he'll score points, and he'll have some exciting moments, and he'll get playing time. But he is, he's gonna make mistakes.
Yeah.
He is raw.
Defensively, we got to see what he's going to be defensively too when he's going up against some of those dogs.
And that's going to be tough for him. Anybody expecting to see, a 2018 version of Jason Tatum on the Celtics last year? I mean, you couldn't have picked a better situation for a rookie to come into than Tatum was in last year. And Knox isn't Tatum. He's not as polished as Tatum.
Yeah.
So I don't want anybody to be disappointed if he has a rough stretch, because he's going to have rough stretches. I think that's, but in terms of the talent, I mean, it's undeniable.
Yeah. To expand on that too, like even in the summer league, he did have turnover problems. He did have defense problems, and his shooting percentage wasn't.
It was
good.
low.
Right, it was shaky, but he's a rookie. He saw the promise. He saw the skill set, and we're hoping that can grow in the Knicks organization. But we got to give him time and not jump him in the first bad game like we traditionally do.
Yeah, gonna take some time, but obviously with KP out, I'm definitely looking forward to seeing through the ups and the downs, man. Definitely looking forward to seeing Knox for sure. So my people at home watching in the chat, what do you guys think about the Knicks small forward positions? Kevin Knox, Courtney Lee. What does the future hold for Courtney Lee? Even Lance Thomas. A lot of you guys made your comments knowing about Lance. So what do you guys think about the threes? Let's go into the chat. Alex Collins was quoting Macri on Knox, saying he ain't no Lance Thomas. Michael Parker with the $20 super chat. Salute to Michael Parker for the donation. He was the first person. I give him credit. Michael Parker was the first person in here. So shout out Michael Parker. Appreciate the donation. Definitely.
Be like Mike.
Be like Mike. Be like Mike. Kareem Maloney says he agrees with Macri on Knox. Slick Nick says Knox first team all rookie. Yeah,
sure.
I definitely
I think that's possible. I love I think it's 10-1 odds on him for rookie of the year. That's
if I'm a betting man, I'll take that.
Yeah.
I'll definitely take that. Cody Manuel says free Courtney Lee. Patterson says
free Courtney Lee.
Trade Lee. Trade Lee. Who else? Robert Paris, always in here. What's good, Robert? He says, love Knox. He won me over before the draft. As good as I expect him to be. Robinson is the key. Good points.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, man, I'm definitely excited about these kids. I really envisioned the Knicks in that second round, and when they pick Robinson, that's exactly what I wanted, man. I wanted a scrappy, big, athletic that could get after, block some shots, rebound. And so, let's see what they have in these two guys. Okay, what do we got next? The twos. Let me pull up my two graphic here.
Oh, Carlito, you ready for the Tim Hardaway Jr. talk right now?
Oh, Carlito is the ultimate Tim Hardaway Jr. hater. He's been on the anti-Timmy diatribe since last year. But nevertheless, man, I'm picking Tim Hardaway Jr. to make the All-Star team this year. I'm going out on the limb. Hot take.
That's hot.
This ain't sensational media. I'm being 100% honest with you guys. I think Timmy, he's listening to the doubters. I think he's been in the gym heavy. Don't worry about that. Don't worry about D Wade's kid crossing him up. That was just an aberration. He let him do that. Timmy,
hand down, man down.
I'm picking Timmy to have a bounce back year, man. He's gonna be the MVP of this 30-win team, and I think if he can get some more consistency behind the arc, I think Fizdale's gonna rein him in. He's going to tell him, watch your shot selection especially. And I think he's got to up it. I mean, that 30% beyond the arc, that was abysmal last year. And I think Timmy's going to up that three-point percentage. And like I said, I think he's going to have a good year. JB, what do you think about Timmy this year?
Yeah, no, I'm excited from what we get with him. I mean, to me, I'm never worried that he's going to put in the work. I mean, all these guys, again, I mean, it's easy for any of us, right, to sit here and say, a guy's not giving it all. I think, they are professionals. I think most of them are, especially in this era of social media where you have accounts like mine where if you're being lazy, you're suddenly going viral with a video.
Quickly.
I think that's actually in a weird way helped the game because, House of Highlights, these guys are all checking that after the game. They don't want to get on there. But
True.
Back to Hardaway, I'm excited to see what we get from him. I think last year he just got into a funk. I mean, if you remember when he got injured, a lot of people were looking at his return date as the big date that the team would take off again because KP had those 3 great weeks. Hardaway got hurt, and then it's like, if they're doubling down on KP in the post, he is forcing things. He wasn't kicking it out. And the thought is, if Hardaway's back, he can kick it out to him, right? And I think he just, with the injury and that funky hit in the middle of the year with shooting, which happens to all shooters, it just kind of spiraled on him. But I'm excited to see what he does this year.
Yeah, I think he wanted it too much, man. I think he wanted it too much.
Yeah. He wears his heart on his sleeve for sure. You could tell. He wears his heart on his sleeve. It's just a shot selection, man. He just comes off too much like JR, man. Just, throwing off of 1 foot or, turn around, fade away from the top of the arc with 2 seconds into the shot clock. Just that decision making really frustrated me. Yeah.
And you know what, too? I feel like just the fact that Timmy is going to be back to his natural position, not going to be playing in 3 like Hornacek have him, I feel like that in itself is going to help him out tremendously. Guarding all these guys who Middleton size at 3 is not helping. Is not helping him at all. But I'm excited to see what he does this year. This is the year. This is the telling year because I've been shooting Timmy some bail last year. I've been shooting Timmy some bail.
Carlito wants him out of there.
He wants him out of there, but I'm like, if you step back, he did better than he did last year with the Atlanta Hawks. His average is raised up. His defense was, middle of the road, sometimes good. Didn't really close on the shooter too much, but it could be better. But he's shown some growth offensively, and I feel like this year he can actually take the next step. He's gotten used to being a starter. He's been used to getting starters minutes, and he's most likely might be fighting to be the man with Knox this season and maybe Trey. And this is the year for him to step up, man. It's a do or die year for Timmy, but he can do it. I'm not sure all-star. He has all the
going all-star for Timmy, man.
He has the opportunity to be all-star.
I can't go all-star with Timmy. I can't go that far. I think the problem and why his contract was largely derided around the league was Timmy is going to be a guy who if he's your 4th best player you're probably doing all right. And he was paid like a 2nd or a 3rd best player. And he still is going to be paid that much for several more years. What bugged me, and I know a lot of people get on all the threes. I personally, he could take as many threes as he wants. I mean, obviously, you'd like him to shoot a better percentage, but that to me is, I want my starting shooting guard shooting a bunch of threes. My thing that I also want is I want him getting to the line. And I know he only played 50-something games last year, but he took more than 4 free throws in a game just 12 times. If you think about that, I mean, James Harden averages whatever he averages, 8, 9, 10 free throws a game. Westbrook, obviously. Timmy is not the craftsman that Harden is. He's not the athlete that Westbrook is. But there is zero reason why Tim Hardaway Jr. should not be averaging, 6 free throw attempts a game.
Absolutely.
That should be a bare minimum. So I just want him to, again, I have no problem with the amount of threes that he takes. Some of the shots were bad, but again, that gets into the fact that he was a guy who has no business ever being the best guy on the court, and he was the best guy on the floor for the Knicks for 30 games last year after KP went down, and even the first before he got hurt, and I was one of those people when he went down, I was like, God damn, I think they would have been in serious playoff contention right up until the moment that KP went down if Hardaway never got hurt. They were.
Yeah.
Something was working about that group of guys. You could just sense that it was, and I know they played a lot of home games. I think they would have been in a very different spot if he had never gotten hurt. But
yeah, there was in a groove, man. They were in a nice little groove before he went down.
You know, it's just it's not fair to him. It's not fair to anybody for him to ever be the best guy on the floor. And the reason why a lot of people or some people are picking Knicks to be the worst team in the league this year is because he's going to probably be their best player
for a long time,
for the first, you know, however many games, 50 games, 60 games.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. I was with you two until the point shooting part. I was like, I don't know about that. But I agree with everything else you just said. Only because, too, I feel like he found his groove in Atlanta when he started to shoot less threes, too. And
then get to the basket more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I think he had something serious, like 50% going to the basket, something high like that. So I feel like that's working for you. Shoot the threes, but scale it down like, 10%.
That's fair.
Now, the other two on the shooting guard depth chart we have here was Damian Dotson and Alonzo Trier. So Dotson was the second-round pickup last year out of Houston by way of Oregon. Had a couple bright spots. He was in the G League for the most part last year. A couple bright spots. Finished, I think he had a 30-point game later in the year last year. Showed some flashes. Didn't have a great summer league, and some Knicks fans are ready to toss him off the team. But we'll rein them in a little bit. And then now we got Trier, who we got on a 2-year deal. Came in the summer league. He was very aggressive. He saw some decent things. I mean, his social media tag is ISO Zoe, so he's shooting. He's shooting it.
Shoot that rock
by any means necessary. But could these guys be competing potentially for one spot going forward? After this season, what do you guys think about Dotson and Trier? Macri, I'll start with you on this one.
I won't go too long on Dotson just because we don't know really still what he could be. Right. I mean, summer league wasn't great, but then again, I don't think he was trying to stand out in summer league. Mm-hmm. I think he was comfortable trying to play his role.
Yeah.
I want to see him get 25 minutes a night, 25 minutes a night. And that's why, I think the biggest reason why I personally would like to see Lee get dealt is I want to see those minutes open up for Dotson. And I don't think Dotson's going to be able to see that much time if Lee is on the team. I just, he's a guy that you have under cost control for 3 more years. Mm-hmm. And theoretically, he is a perfect modern wing. But we don't know if he actually is. It's just in theory at this point because he never played last year. And of all the gripes that I have against Hornacek last year, him not playing Dotson is by far the number one. And I don't want to go talk about Jeff because there's no reason to. Yeah. But I don't understand for the life of me why he did not get more time because he was a 4-year college player. It's not like you're throwing in a guy who's, a 20-year-old. So I want to see him get on the court. I'm excited. I think they may still have something legit in Dotson.
Man.
Jay Ellis, you were a Dotson guy, man. What do you think about him this year? His prospects.
First and foremost, he follows me on Instagram, so I'll never say anything bad about him ever. All right?
He's a friend of the program. He's a friend of the program. He's a friend of the program, no doubt.
But all seriousness though, before we even signed Timmy, I was really excited about Dotson because I just liked his potential. I liked his defensive potential.
Yeah.
A. B. I like that he's like a rebounding 2 guard. And there was certain games in the summer league last season where he had like 9 rebounds, and even this season he flashed those rebounds.
He had 10 rebounds in the game. He scored 30 points or 11 rebounds in that game. Yeah,
exactly. So I just like the idea of having a potential 3-and-D guy can also give you rebounds on the squad. That intrigued me to no end. And I agree with you wholeheartedly. I love Courtney, but Courtney got to go, man. Come up, so man, D-Doc get some minutes. He has to. You can't just have 30-10 sitting on the bench. You only getting 10 minutes a game. So that has to go. I'm hoping that happens before training camp and you get to see my guy Dot spread his wings. I know some guys were getting on him in summer league because he wasn't really flame throwing. But I even like that he seems like he's growing as like a leader amongst the young kids. He seems like he was given I called him Martin Luther Dot when he was on the sidelines. They showed like him like giving an inspirational speech, trying to rile the troops. play some defense. But I like it, man. I feel like he's gonna have a good year. I feel like Fizz is gonna give him that confidence, the confidence that Jeff really didn't, because he kind of had all the rookies on a short leash last year. And I think he's gonna have a good year if he's given the minutes.
See, JB, weigh in here.
Yeah, no, and I think, the guy I compare him to in terms of his role in the roster is Ron Baker. So if Ron Baker was a Hornacek guy because he kind of, I guess, made him think of the way he was, right, in terms of working hard. Obviously, he doesn't have the same skills. I could see Fizdale looking the same way with Dotson, where it's like, here's a guy who's going to bring energy every single second. The team can be down 25 points, and Dotson's still out there bringing energy. And then, I won't repeat all the other reasons you guys said in terms of why we like him. I guess I'll pivot a little bit toward, when we talk about, well, where these guys fit on the two as a two, I think we got our next discussion about the point.
Yes.
Kind of answers our question here. We know Hardaway Jr. is going to get a lion's share of minutes, but those extra 15 minutes behind him, that, I'm not sure if it's so easy as just saying, oh, it comes down to, if it's going to be Dotson or not. I think it's Frank. A lot of, when they want to play 2 point guards.
Could be Frank, could be 2 points.
Moody.
Yeah.
My bad. Did I say a curse word? My bad.
All right, so look, before we get into the points, man, if you guys watch it in the chat, let us know what you guys think about this shooting guard rotation. Hardaway, Trier, Dotson. Leave a comment in the chat. Leave a comment below. Let us know what you guys think about it, man. As usual, if this is your first time on the channel, make sure you hit that thumbs up. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification bell so you don't miss the next stream.
X.
Okay, so now we've gone through the centers. We've gone through the fours, the threes, the twos. So let's go to the points. This was a topic. It continues to be a topic of debate between Knicks Nation. Who's gonna man the helm? Who's gonna be the lead guy? Obviously last year we got Frank coming in his second year, a so-so rookie year. Obviously compared to his peers wasn't that great, but we got high hopes for Frank. We got Trey coming off of a Cinderella bounce back, career resurrecting season. Finished as a starter, played very well down the stretch for the Knicks. We got Emmanuel Mudiay as the reclamation project for last year. They claim he wasn't in shape. I don't know how that happens, but claim he wasn't in shape last year. And we got Baker, the Mr. Untouchable, the $5 million man. I'm gonna skip Baker just to get into this three-headed monster.
I think that's the right move.
Yeah, I think that is quite apropos for the evening. How
dare you, man?
We gotta.
I like Baker too.
How dare you?
But, especially because I like him more at the wing than I do the point. Now that we have three, I think when they didn't have as many options, he would handle the ball. But I think now, I would almost even consider more on the wing. But yeah, go on.
Yeah. We know what Baker is, right? Mm-hmm. We know what he's going to be, and he's a guy that should always have a place on a roster somewhere because he's good practice player. He could give you 5 minutes in a pinch, but we don't need to talk about Rob Baker, I don't think.
Seriously, man, seriously. So with this three-headed point guard platoon that we got working in here, I guess Macri, what do you think in terms of the direction? What do you think Fizdale goes here in terms of who gets the minutes?
I think it's two different questions. I think the direction that Fizdale goes, if I was a betting man right now, I would, despite the fact that it creates a situation where your defense isn't strong at the point of attack or down low, I would guess that he's probably going to start Trey Burke to start the year. It's just the gut feeling that I have. That being said, my biggest fear going forward as a Knicks fan, and the only real significant fear that I have, is that they will give up on Frank Ntilikina, because I think he's a stud. I think he is going to be not a star in the traditional sense of when we think of a star, but I think he's going to be a guy that is going to play 30 minutes a night for the next 12 years in the NBA And every single one of those minutes, his coach is going to be happy that he's out there. As long as the shot comes along, and based on his form, I don't think there's any reason why the shot isn't going to come along. Whether he's playing the 1, whether he's playing the 2, whether he's playing the 3.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he will see time at the 3 this year. I think that's in the cards. He's a guy that you want. I think he's going to develop quickly into a guy that you want on the floor. I just don't think, if I had to guess, I don't think he's going to be the starting point guard from day one, but I do think he will get close to 30 minutes a night this year. I think they're going to figure out ways to get him in there. It's just, and if his shot is falling from day one, I mean, I take back what I said. I think he's absolutely in the conversation for the starting job.
Yeah, I mean, my take on the Frank thing is, I feel like, I like Trey. Don't get me wrong, and Trey Burke actually he broke his 2K rating on KnicksFanTV. So salute to Trey Burke. He's a friend of the program. I like Trey, man, and I like his story. And I think, according to Fizdale's philosophy, if you keep what you kill, I think Trey does deserve to be the starter. Because he did kill. He did, my bad, Jay Ellis. He did kill, and Frank hasn't. But I feel like we have to continue with this kid's growth and see what we have here.
It's the most important thing that they do this season.
Most important thing, man. The point guard position has to be solidified. We need some sort of clarity of what we're going to do moving forward, man. We just have not had any sort of stability at that position since Steph, we have not had that stability. And I don't even know if you want to call it stability, but
yeah, I don't know if he was
longevity. Put it that way, right?
That's fair.
And also, I think from a defensive standpoint, to balance the lineup out, I think we should see what Frank can give us, manning the helm. Jay Ellis, I know I stole your take, but go ahead and give me your thoughts.
I'm gonna just turn the camera off now. You still but yeah, so my guy Trey Burke, Mr. Steal Your Minutes. Trey Burke, man, he dug his way out. I respect him for putting in the work. He's obviously putting in the work this season, and to me, he just seems like the most polished and the most ready offensively to take over this squad. The problem with Burke is because I feel like his ceiling defensively isn't that high, and it can cause problems in the long term, which is why I feel like it is up to Frank to actually keep what you kill and kind of eventually take over for Trey, hopefully by January or so. But as of right now, Trey is the guy. The pull-up game is nice. He added the assist to his arsenal in the G League, and I like what he does, man. And I know people are kind of saying that he kind of overachieved toward the end of the season with his shooting. He was shooting around 50%.
It was high.
It's like, can he keep that up? It remains to be seen. But as of now, I feel like you have to start him right now, at least to start, and then see what Frank gives you. See if Frank takes that next step and is aggressive on the offensive end, and he can shoot those shots, and he's backing down people and posting up smaller point guards to see if all that is eventually put together. You know what I'm saying? So,
JB, are we overlooking Moutier? Do you think this is really a two-headed race, or do you think Fizdale kind of goes with a three-headed kind of platoon, kind of like what Hornacek did last year? Are we overlooking Moutier? Is he definitely the odd man?
I mean, I think all of us have a part in us after last season. I mean, I think I don't know if Moutier came on the record, but I know the Knicks did, or maybe was it Hornacek, in saying, he came to the team being a little out of shape. And I know Fizdale said around Summer League, I think in a press conference, like, look, it also was, he was transitioning to a new team. Yeah. And, he is still a young guy. And
Fizz called him out early, man. He's like, Moutier.
Right at that first press conference.
Moutier, you're trash, but we're going to get you right, kid.
That's exactly what subtext is everything.
That was a word-for-word translation.
Yeah, word for word. That was my translation of it.
But yeah, so I think all of us kind of are, I'll say, interested to see now this year in a safer environment with Fizdale, what he can do. But I think in terms of who starts, I agree with what you guys are saying. I actually was one that I didn't have a big issue even last year with the way Frank, the minutes that he got. I know there were certain games that we didn't like when he was on the court, but I know there was an interview Frank gave over in France, and he tends to speak more free there because he can just speak in his native language.
Right.
Where he admitted that he got tired in January, February. He wasn't used to that schedule.
Hit the rookie wall.
Yeah, right. And the team, it's a little different in the NBA in terms of how the team does things together, and he's getting used to that. So, I think, all that you have to keep in mind too. I guess the added part that I was thinking about, if we take aside, merit, who deserves to start, and just think about lineups that make sense is, what do you guys think in terms of, okay, well, if we start Burke, well, now, we have this starting lineup of offense where Cantor, we know on offense he's going to put up, right? And then now we got Knox, we got Hardaway Jr., we got Burke. So you go to the bench, well, where is that offense going to come from?
That's my thing.
Do you need to maybe consider staggering Burke's minutes with the bench because he can both score and he can facilitate, drive into the hoop, kicking out, and doing things to make that unit flow a little better than maybe Frank can? What do you guys think, I guess, with that?
Yeah.
My worry real quick with that would be if they're not confident that Frank, and I personally believe he will be able to run a team sooner rather than later proficiently, but if they don't think he's ready to do that from game one, even if the other players out there with Frank are gifted offensive players, if Fizdale doesn't feel like he could get them into offense sufficiently enough, then you might be wasting some of that. I think that's the other side of the coin. But I hear you, and I think it's a legitimate issue that they're going to have to deal with. Yeah,
I mean, I agree with Macri as well. I think, we don't know how confident they are in Frank in running the show. But I think, as a projected 30-win team, it's time to show. It's time to see what we're working with. And, we could throw Trey on the second unit to get that instant offense out there. Because if you are starting Trey, I don't know where that offense is coming from off the bench.
Right.
Maybe it is Moutier. I don't know.
Maybe it is Moutier. We'll see.
Don't discount Mario. If he ends up coming off the bench, I could see them running just a lot of their offense through him because if it's one thing I could do, it's score.
Yeah.
A lot of people like him as like a sneaky fantasy pick.
Sure.
For that reason. Yep.
One of these point guards develop, our problems are solved. Point blank period.
Sure.
Frank develops into what he's supposed to be or he needs to be. It solves a lot of problems on both sides of the ball, and we can be a lot more comfortable going into January, February, knowing where the team is going.
Yep.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We need that closure, man. I need to see a point guard, a capable point guard that we can see here into the future. But it'll be interesting to see what happens. It'll be interesting to see how that works out. Everybody in the chat, once again, salute to everybody in the chat that's watching us on this Saturday. If it's just your first time watching, hit that subscribe button. Let us know what you think about the point guard battle in training camp. Is it Frank? Is it Trey? Is it Moutier? Are you a closet Ron Baker fan? Let us know what you think. Who's going to be in this rotation? Leave it in the comments. Leave it in the chat, and we'll point out some chats. Okay, so I think it's 5:30.
All right.
Well, we got some tickets to give away. We've broken down the positions, and we got Knicks Hawks tickets to give away for opening night. So let's do that at this moment.
Yeah.
JB, did you email me the list already, or?
I just sent it over, so you should have it.
Right, let's send it over and see who's it gonna be. Let's see here. Okay. Say that again.
Beatbox while you open the email.
Let me see. I think we got while I sort through the spreadsheet, I think we got the CEO of Statement Games. These tickets are being brought to you by Statement Games. So let me see if we can get Mark on the line. Mark, are you there?
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Mark, what's going on, man? So we got Mark Salino, the CEO of Statement Games. Mark, you are live with Knicks Post Game Live. We're getting ready to give away the tickets. So go ahead and tell the people a little bit about Statement Games and what they can look forward to this year.
Yeah, before I get I guess rocking and rolling on that here, I'm throwing in my vote for Burke.
Okay.
I like a lot of the things that he's actually doing. I'm actually kind of curious to see what actually happens with Moutier and see if Fizdale can turn him around here. But looking forward to the season. I am very curious to see how this whole thing plays out.
Yeah, indeed, man, indeed. This is definitely gonna be some growing pains, but some stuff to look forward to as well in terms of what Fizdale's impact is gonna be on these young guys.
Facts. And Fizz we trust though.
Yes.
Cross out Phil's name for Fizz.
Absolutely, man. So Mark, tell us a little bit about Statement Games, man.
Yeah, sure. Really appreciate the opportunity. It's a pleasure being on here, especially on this fine Saturday. So, as you had mentioned, I am the CEO of a online game called Statement Games. You can actually access it via statementgames.com. It's accessible on laptops, phones, tablets, any type of browser that has the ability to connect to the internet would have the ability to access statementgames.com. And like I said, it's a free online game. We're going to have a little bit of a different twist or a different take on fantasy basketball. We create tournaments around individual sporting events, or in this case, basketball games or Knicks tournaments. So the game is pretty simple. It's straightforward. You go into statementgames.com, you either log back in or create yourself an account, which is very simple and easy. You can create an account by clicking a Facebook button or a Google Plus button. It takes you right into the lobby of the site. You play in various different tournaments, and our game is it's pretty straightforward. So, for example, let's just say the Knicks are playing, they're playing the Hawks. So our game is going to be based on a basketball game. We're going to actually present a list of statements or props that could potentially take place during the course of that basketball game. For example, cancer over or under, 13.5 rebounds for that night's game. The Knicks are going to shoot over or under 28% from the three-point line here. We come up with a whole bunch of different props or outcomes. We present them to you. You sort through the list. You pick 10 of them. You rank them from 10 to 1. So if your number 10 statement becomes correct, you're going to get 10 points. If 9 through 1 are incorrect, now you just have a total of 10 points. You're going to play in leagues of anywhere between 8 to 12 people. The person with the most points from correct statements at the end of that specific basketball game wins. So as you can kind of see here, it's a little bit of a different take on fantasy sports. You're not drafting players. You're actually organizing a list or a group of props or statements in a little bit of a team format. You're sitting back, you're enjoying a basketball game, and you're going from there.
Nice.
Absolutely, man. And what we're gonna do is we'll host I'm gonna host a live stream before the first preseason game, Knicks and Wizards, October 1st. I'm gonna host a live stream to explain, walk through screen by screen with Nick and Mark from Statement Games of how you guys can play, how you guys can win, and how you guys can win more Knicks tickets, memorabilia, so on and so forth. So, Mark, we definitely appreciate partnering up this season. And, we're definitely going to have you guys back on the show, man. Definitely appreciate the time.
Yeah, thanks for providing the tickets.
No, I appreciate
Yeah,
that.
thank you.
Thanks.
And definitely just keep in mind that all of this stuff is 100% free. We don't actually ask for any type of credit card number, social security number, or ask you to make a deposit into an account. You're playing an online game, which is free. And although you're playing for free, there's some great prizes and experiences, which I'm sure you and I will announce as we get deeper into the season,
right?
Such as, T-shirts and, unfortunately, in about a couple of minutes here, there's only going to be one lucky winner for the opening night tickets. But through competition and competing and knowing your stuff on Statement Games here, you could potentially even win some Knicks tickets as well. So appreciate you having me on. Looking forward to listening to the remainder of the show. If there's anything else that I can do for you guys, let me know. And for the listening audience out there, if you wanted to check us out, again, it's just statementgames.com, or you can follow us on social media. It's just at Statement Games, all one word. We're on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook.
There we go. It's Mark Salino, Statement Games. Mark, have a good weekend, man. Take care, man.
Guys, have a good one. I'll catch up with you soon.
You
Thanks
too,
so
bro.
much.
You will, Mark.
Bye-bye.
All right, here we go. Here we go. Let's get some music here so we can get the anticipation rolling.
All right.
Let's go. And if anybody's watching right now, you guys want to start lining up on the bridge, you can call up. If you guys want to, after we give the tickets away, we'll be taking your phone calls for a quick Q&A. So the number's on the bottom left-hand side. You guys can call in now and we can queue you up. And you can, air out your opinions on the camp battles and so on and so forth. All right, so I got the list here in front of me. Let me get my tunes up here.
All right.
Get a little bit of action here. It's my beat. Shout out to King Rich in Uptown, man. King Rich sent me this beat, man. JL, this might be the beat that you got to write your freestyle to come back at Joe Buttons, man, for blocking you on Twitter, bro. This might be it, man.
This is it.
Be careful.
Yeah. It's either going to work two ways, JL. It's either you extend the olive branch, you offer him a free graphic or something, or we just going to do this we just going to do this freestyle, man, and see where we go, bro.
I mean, I got some bars.
Oh,
it's not rap bars, though, but I got some type of bars.
I hear you. All right, let's see here now. So I got the list in front of me. We have, how many entries we got? 273 entries.
Yeah.
273 entries.
And no one wants to hear we had a big number. They're hoping there's like 10 people,
yeah,
right?
They're
Exactly.
hoping. They're hoping. So we cleaned up the list. We've gotten the duplicates out there. We told people it's one entry only. People didn't listen, so we had to do some cleaning up. All right, so here we go. I'm going to go into the Google random number generator, and for the sake of transparency, I'm going to share my screen here.
So it's not rigged.
It's not rigged. It's not rigged, people. It's not rigged.
No frozen envelopes.
So I can't win, okay.
There will be no frozen envelopes, as JB said. There will be no foot tricks, as Clyde would say. This is a straight up... This is a straight up random number here. All right, so here we go. All right, let's see. Let's start this. Let me share my screen with the folks.
Drum roll.
Drum roll. Who's ready to win? Who thinks they're gonna win the ticket? Leave a comment in the chat. If you think you're gonna be the winner, let us know. All right, let me get my window capture up in here. I don't want to see Damian Dotson anymore. All right, here we go.
How dare you?
Make my screen a little bit bigger. So this is random.org. So we got 273 people in here. So we're gonna go from 1 to 273. Let me just make sure I got the number. Let me just double check the number. I don't want to short anybody. All right, 273 confirmed.
Okay.
So here we go.
All right.
When I hit
Let's go.
when I hit the number generate,
Yeah.
whichever number it lands on, it lands on. So let's see. Here we go. The lucky winner is gonna be number 95.
95.
All right.
Number 95. All right, let me let's see which number 95 corresponds with. And as everybody can see, it's number 95. No frozen envelopes, no foot tricks. This is what it is. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back to the Excel sheet and see who it is.
Number 95.
Let me cover this up so I don't want anybody's phone numbers exposed on the internet.
So while you're doing that, we
Yep.
did just get a little bit of breaking news here. I don't know if you call this news, but Shams just tweeted out that Minnesota All-Star Jimmy Butler has begun to seriously contemplate his future with the franchise.
Oh, buddy.
It's over. He's coming to NY.
Oh, buddy.
Going to the.
Oh, buddy.
I don't quite know what that means.
What does that even mean?
That means
Yeah, they said they're gonna meet. They're gonna meet on Monday, right? He's gonna meet.
Yes, he's going to meet him on Monday.
That means Courtney Lee is going to the Timberwolves. That's it.
I've begun to seriously contemplate what I'm going to have for
Oh,
dinner
my
tonight.
God.
Thanks, Brian Jones, for subscribing. Hey, thanks.
Thanks for the subscribe, man. All right, so here we go. The winner is, and let me hide this guy's phone number here so he's not on. Get this phone numbers out of here. Number 95. The winner is Freedom Tricochet. I don't know if he's French or what. Freedom Tricochet. Not Ricochet, but Tricochet.
Okay.
is the winner, number 95. Freedom Trichoshades.
Very nice.
There it is, man. Let's
All right.
let's give this guy.
No one in the chat, I guess.
I don't know. But
Nah, nobody's in the chat.
Freedom, if you watch it, give us a call, or else we're gonna call you, man. You should have been watching, buddy. All right, here we go. Let's see if he picks up.
If he picks up, all right.
See if he picks up. Who just subscribed? Gyromania, thanks for the subscribe, man. All right, let's see if we can reach. Mr. Ricochet here. Ricochet.
It's a pretty creative handle.
Yeah. It's no Drip Bayless, but it's all right. It's decent.
Yes, no, that's the first thing I was thinking. It's like Drip. Is that your other alias, Drip?
Yeah.
Or Robert Parrish.
Yeah.
That's a good one.
All right, let's see. Let's call Mr. Trio Show. Give me a second. Let's see if he picks up.
Like that. Ronnie says, he's not watching. Pick another one.
Yeah, right. That should have been the stipulation, man.
Yeah. You gotta be there, right?
You gotta watch. You know, fan.
See
you
if
gotta
he
take off
answers.
work. I don't care what you do.
Hello, is this Freedom?
Is that your voice?
This is CP from the KnicksFanTV. How's it going? Not much, man. Are you trying to go to the Knick game?
The hell?
Well, you filled out a form here to win these Knicks tickets, man. You trying to go to the game? Bro,
You sound like Dan Rathers over here.
you won the tickets, man. Bro, you should have been watching the live stream, man. What are you doing right now, bro?
Playing some 2K right now.
Okay, you getting watched or you winning?
I don't know. I'm winning. You already know how we win here.
Oh man, that's Suffolk County, man. You guys ain't gamers out there, man.
That's
Well, anyway, man, yo, you won the tickets. We'll definitely shoot you an email and give you a call how you could get them. It's 2 tickets to Knicks Hawks October 17th at the Garden. Are you a Knicks fan? I hope you are a Knicks fan, bro.
Hell yeah.
So what do you what's your take on the season, man? What are you looking forward to the most?
I'm looking forward for Kevin Knox's growth. I just want to see how he'll grow throughout the whole season. And
sound is low on him, by the way.
just in general, how the whole Knicks team will play.
No doubt, man. All right, well, yo, listen, congratulations again, and we'll definitely be in touch on the tickets, man. Congrats.
All right, thank you, man.
Who did it?
All right, man, take it easy.
Well done.
Yeah.
All right.
All right, well, there we have it, man.
Casey, we were getting on you because you have a different voice when you
Yeah,
make a
man.
phone call.
That's not how you speak.
No, well, look, it was a sideways prank call. I wanted to catch him off guard. I wanted to sound like the Publishers Clearinghouse guy or something.
You're the person I'm going to hire if I need to have someone call someone.
Yeah, definitely, man. CIA, look me up, man. Look
Thanks.
me up. This guy was playing 2K. He didn't even remember that he signed up for these tickets. He probably thought it was like a trick or something that he wasn't going to win.
Wow.
But yeah, shout out to Freedom, and to those of you that lost, man. Like I said, we will be playing statement games for select Knick games throughout the year. It will be free to play. We'll have the live stream in a week or so to explain how to play, and each game will be giving away Knick merchandise, post game live merchandise, Knicks tickets as well. So.
We'll be prizes.
Yeah, there will be plenty to win. So no worries on that. Okay, that's pretty much the show, man. If you guys want to call in, you could definitely call in. We'll see if the lines open up in a couple minutes. If not, man, definitely great show. Yo, JL, what happened with this Joe Button stuff, man? Tell everybody what happened.
Ah, man. First of all, I was a victim, right? I'm gonna just leave off with that.
That's a lot of the show, right?
A casualty of war. A casualty of war,
Show.
man.
I was a victim. I was put into this huge Twitter group.
It was like a 50-man thread
Yeah, it's a 50-man thread, right?
of like delusional, maniacal Knicks fans.
Frank Ntilikina haters, or all of them in there, right? Half of them anyway. Some of them are actually cool. What's up, y'all watching? Hey, what's going on? Anyway.
You're going to get blocked by more people now.
Yeah.
Yo, but anyway, so I'm getting all these alerts in the morning. Like, my phone is blowing up, and they just talking Knicks all day. So it is actually kind of entertaining. So I joined in a couple of comments. All of a sudden, Joe Budden joins in. It's like days later, Joe Budden goes like, "Hey, can you kick me off the thread? It's kind of
Button's just getting like 200 notifications a day.
Yeah.
Wait, what impression are you doing of Casey right now? Or
Nah, that's my Joe Budden.
That's Joe Budden's impersonation, man.
Yeah.
Good one.
Can't take me off the thread. This is please, thank you. And everybody's like, "Oh, Joe Budden responded." Everybody's hyped.
Yeah, everybody was hyped that he responded, but no one took him off the thread.
Yeah. So I simply said, take him off the thread before he hurt y'all. And then next thing you know, I checked back like a few weeks later or whatever, and I realized I'm blocked. And I have no reason. Yeah, he blocked me.
Blocked by Joe Buttons, man.
Blocked by Joe Budden, man. Which is
He's the Frank Isola of the rap game.
Seriously,
and I was
seriously, man.
and I was like, I had nothing to do with that thread. Why did he block me? It was kind of wild.
Oh,
So, I
man.
mean, I'm a big fan of this podcast too. So I'm like, damn, bro. Like, I thought I was gonna be I thought I was gonna be the third member. You know what I'm saying?
Now, the podcast is lit, though, man. I like that podcast.
Yeah,
I
podcast
definitely
is
like
lit,
it, man.
Yo, then I realized too, I was blocked by Brandon Jennings.
Oh, what did you do to Brandon Jennings, bro?
That's a tough loss there.
Yo, I was blocked by Brandon Jennings last year on Instagram and blocked by Joe Budden.
It's quite
This year.
Yeah.
But then I realized Maul knows both of them.
Oh yeah, from the pod this morning.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
like I'm blocked by two people that Maul knows. So Maul.
So you're saying it's him?
I'll build the bridge. I don't know.
Maul need to build a bridge, man.
I'll build this bridge, man.
So supposedly people saying that Maul is stating that KD is really trying to come here. I don't know how much stock to take into that.
He said he's a lock. That was his exact words.
I can't believe that.
He
Yeah, I
said
don't know
KD is
about
a lock.
No, nobody, nobody knows what KD's thinking.
Yeah, right. I don't even think KD probably knows at this point.
I don't think he does either.
Now, what's interesting on that take was Maul said last season that KP was going to leave the Knicks.
Nah, he doesn't know shit, man.
He said that. But if you remember, there was a whole lot of speculation happening last year.
Yeah, there was beef. There was
some beef,
There
and it
was
was
beef.
looking crazy for a minute. So maybe that could have been it, and then things went left, and actually Phil Jackson in the league. So I don't know. Who knows?
Who knows, man?
Who knows?
Oh man, well, we'll see how it plays out, man. But first things first, we got a training camp coming up. September 25th is what it is. October 1st, the preseason game against the Wizards. And keep it locked here to Knicks Post Game Live, man. We're gonna be coming live after every game, and taking your phone calls, breaking down the game, and definitely thanks for everybody for tuning in. Jay Macri, I'm gonna put it on to you. Give us some last words and let the people know where they can find you.
Yeah, sure. If you're not already doing so, follow me on Twitter, JC Macri NBA. And obviously keep an eye out for, the Knicks Film School website coming at you before the season starts. Within the next couple of weeks, we'll get that up and going. Got a lot of exciting stuff planned for this year. My closing take is this. I think that, the team right now, it's been a year that they haven't done anything stupid or objectively wrong.
Applaud them.
Amen.
Right? And it's sad. I don't want to say it's sad. It's unfortunate that we have to, that's a thing that we should all be celebrating, but it is, because there have been, the organization hasn't always been going in the right direction, and it seems like it is. And today is September 15th, right? If we could make it another I guess 9.5 months. Just stay the course. Just keep doing what you're doing. Don't swing for the fences on anything. Don't try to make a splash. Just play it smart. Develop your guys. I think they're going to be all right. They have, I was talking to someone earlier. They have put themselves in a position to be successful. They're not successful yet, but they put themselves in a position to be successful. Just stay in that position. If they just stay in that position, we got this Jimmy Butler news over the wire. I'm sure that there's going to be, teams calling and offering different things for him. Don't go nuts.
Nah, I don't want him. I don't want him.
Hey, listen.
Not in the trade.
If a perfect opportunity is there and it's too good to be true, great. But let's just stay the course. Stay the course. Make the smart move. Don't make, they've avoided trying to get on the back pages as is fashionable to say. Just keep doing that, and I think they're going to be all right.
True indeed. Well said, man. And I put a link to your Twitter in the description below. So if you're not following Jonathan on Twitter, there's a link to his Twitter profile in the video description. So just click down below and you'll find him, man. He's a great writer and covering the Knicks NBA at large. So definitely give him a follow. JB.
Yeah. So I guess same thing. I guess to add a little bit on the site, because I saw earlier in the chat, someone had asked if we could give maybe a little more preview of what the site will be like. If you went to the Knicks Film School site before I relaunched it, it was much more news focused and it was kind of like a stream. The new site will be similar, but there will be obviously original content from both me and Jonathan, Zach, and I always say his last name wrong, but Deluzio from Posting and Toasting will also be helping us out. And then a lot of people who I've talked to will be doing, whether it's guest contributions or, helping out more than that. But we're really hoping it becomes a place that's kind of like a community where, even for both Nick of Time Show and KnicksFanTV will be featuring their content on the site. But we'll also be doing things that are a little different than maybe your traditional blog. We don't want you to just come and have a bunch of featured posts that you're just scrolling down and we're trying to get you to click. We're going to try to mix in useful information. So if you want to know about the salary cap, we'll have a place for you to come and you'll get all the details that you want to know. If you want to know about, roster questions or whatever news that comes up. So if now it's training camp and you're wondering, how the roster works through training camp, all that type of information we're going to try to put on the site. So I guess to give you a little more preview of that, we're excited about it. And obviously follow Knicks Film School, follow Macri, follow KnicksFanTV, follow Nick of Time Show, both on Twitter and Instagram. And then obviously subscribe here to the YouTube channel. And it was great being on.
Absolutely, man. Definitely great having you guys on, man. And when it comes to the content, man, you're on top of your game, man. And I think I had come across the account last year, and I was like, yo, this dude is breaking down film. He's posting this. He's posting like yo, this dude is a machine, bro. And thanks. Definitely valuable contributions to the Knicks content world, man. You guys are really great at what you guys do, man. And Jay Ellis. On to you,
man. I don't got that much to say. All I gotta say is this: I'm loving the direction that we're in right now. I love how strong the youth movement is. We haven't really had this many young pieces on the squad at the same time. This many prospects. I love that we have Frank, plus Knox, plus Mitch, plus KP to look forward to one day. Hopefully, if everything goes the way we want to, having this long interchangeable squad that's just causing havoc. I just see the future if we just stay the course. Yep. And I just like that we have Fizz and all these young coaches. Everything just seems so deliberate and so well thought out, and it gives me a lot of hope for the future.
That's a good word for it.
And
I agree.
Yeah, even with me suspecting not to even win that much this season. Even with everybody, all the hype again with Zion for next year, might be coming in. All that, like, I'm just hyped. I'm just really glad that we're in the position we're in, and I can't wait to see what comes of it. And also, look out for I've been working on a lot of merch.
The merch is on the way.
Merch is on the way. I've been doing a lot of drawing. I'm putting stuff together. Watch out for the merch. And I think you guys are gonna like it and love it. And yeah, when it's out, I'll let y'all know. Follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and you'll be the first to know when it happens. Trust me. All right.
Absolutely, man. My guy Jay Ellis, my partner in crime. Once again, you know, I just got to echo the same sentiments as everybody. I think it's refreshing to see the direction that the squad is going in. I did a video called The New Era on YouTube. You can catch it if you hit the icon at the top right. You could catch it if you haven't watched it already. But it just basically speaks to, you know, since my time watching from the UN era on, we've just never really been in this period where we're truly committed to a youth rebuild and building in the right way. We're not taking shortcuts. We're not, well, as of right now, we're not doing things like the Melo trade where, you know, we're mortgaging half the future and then figuring out how to piece it together afterwards. You know, that's just hustling backwards. And, you know, I just like where this team is headed. We hope and knock on wood that KP can bounce back healthy and be able to gel with a guy like a Knox. You know, maybe we could form a two-headed monster there on the offensive end, him and Cape and Mitchell Robinson on the defensive end. You know, the potential, I think, is very promising. And then just seeing what a coach like a Fizdale who's preaching accountability, you know, being physical, being tough, defensive-minded from that Riley coaching tree. I'm interested to see how Fizdale comes in. And, you know, everybody really has a chip on their shoulder, from the coach to, you know, the three-point guards we mentioned, Timmy. You know, Canner's going to be trying to play for a deal. I think the positivity coming into training camp is really going to be there for a lot of people. So let's see what happens, man. But once again, appreciate everybody for tuning in. We will be back, like I said, after every game, tuning in after every game, every major news announcement. We will be live streaming. We're going to have, you know, Jonathan and JB back on every once in a while to come add some valuable insight to the stream. We'll also have some of the posting and toasting guys like Alex Wolf, Schwinney on as well. So, you know, we only bringing you some of the best and brightest when it comes to this Knicks content, man. So definitely salute to everybody for tuning in on this Saturday. So let me just give a couple shout outs. Alex Collins, all the way. I think Alex is from Ireland, right?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
Shout out to Alex for the support. He's always on Twitter shouting us out. Slick Nick, Paul Cooper. Who else? Carlito's back. Daniel Watkins, appreciate it. Robert Paris, appreciate it. Drip Bayless, always appreciate it. Mo Cattell, Edward Stalling. Ra Hotep came in a little late, but he's here. Appreciate everybody for supporting. And, yeah, that's it, man. I'm going to get out of here. Catch this fight later. This Triple G and Canelo. And
Ron Burbs, thanks for everybody.
Ron Burbs, thanks. If you guys haven't subscribed, make sure you hit that subscribe button and the notification
subscribe,
bell.
man. I'm almost at 500. Hit me the subscribe button.
Let's get Jay Ellis to 500 subscribers, man. Let's get Jay Ellis to 500 subscribers. So, yeah, man, give us a thumbs up if you like this video. Pardon the video interruptions. You know, the stream was a little bit taxed with so many people on the video, but we'll get that fixed going forward. And, yeah, you guys have a great weekend. This is Post Game Live for the fans, by the fans, man. You guys take it easy.